Hi, thank you for watching a new video blog. Why are the divorce rates so high in the Western world? You might think that in a civilized place like Europe, Northern America, the divorce rates should be really low. You might think that people are really happy there, that they're really having everything that they want, having all the material needs that they can dream of, prosperity, health, and etc. And also a happy marriage, something that everybody's longing for. Everybody, a few exceptions maybe, but in general 99.9% of the people desire a wonderful marriage, a beautiful partner, and not beautiful in appearance, but beautiful in character, beautiful in personality, to share their life with. So why is it that in this civilized, the most civilized place of the planet, of the world, why are these divorce rates so extremely high? Well, to look at why in this so-called civilization these rates are so high, we should look at places where the divorce rates are low, extremely low, or even zero. In the West, we can see that the divorce rates differ from, for example, people that are more religious and people that are less religious. You see that the divorce rate under religious people is much lower. Still there, people still divorce, but it's much lower. So the people that have no religion, they have higher divorce rates. You might say like, okay, you know, that's because of it's forbidden from their religion. It's just out of fear. They're afraid. They don't dare to divorce because it can cause problems with their religion. Yeah, sure, that's a part, but I don't think it's all. So let's look further away. So these people have a low divorce rates like religious people, and if you look, for example, in the Western world, like the Amish and the Mennonites, or for example in Holland, the bevindelijk gereformeerden, we have a whole community of people with like a very orthodox religious people, and they have even almost percentages of zero. The Amish, Mennonites, and these bevindelijk gereformeerden. In common people will call them refo's. And there's quite a big group in Holland, and they have very low divorce rate, almost close to zero, but they still have a divorce rate. So it's still happening in these communities. So then we should look at places where there is maybe zero divorce rate, where the divorce rate is zero. And then of course you come to the primitive tribes, the people that are living in a primitive manner, also still in Europe, also still in Northern America, also still in Canada, and South Africa, maybe Japan. For example, we have in Northern America and Canada, we have the Inuit people and we have the Native Americans, people that still live quite primitive, and there you see that the divorce rates are zero. And especially in the very primitive tribes, they don't even know what divorce is. And that's very interesting, because to us divorce is something very common. It happens now, I don't know what the percentage is, really high, you can look it up yourself. Really high. Divorce is something happening now almost in every family. But for these primitive tribes, they don't even know what divorce is. Because if you live with your tribe and you, as a man, find a woman in your tribe, it's just unthinkable that you will go with somebody else. It's just unthinkable. And that's where it all comes down to, is the tribe, the primitive state of the man, of humanity. Right? So, in the primitive state, it's really unthinkable to divorce. Why? Because if you find a partner, it's basically your family. You see a tribe, they don't marry outside of the tribe, very rarely. They stay inside their tribe. And this makes it that you cannot even imagine that you divorce somebody because you share a child. You are connected. It's the same as you don't leave your family in a normal state. If you're a healthy person and you have a good connection with your family, you are not saying, oh, I just go and leave my family because I want to find another family. No, of course not. You feel so closely connected because the tribe is an extended family. And these people feel so strongly connected, they cannot even imagine, I go to another partner, I go to another, I leave this partner, I go with another partner. It's unthinkable. And even if it happens, the tribe will have repercussions. For example, they will just kill you. That's simple as that. But they do it not out of, it's not a rule that you are, oh, if I divorce, I get killed, so I don't divorce. No, it's just something for them natural. If somebody does this, it must be a sick person. We have to get rid of him. The rest of the tribe, the healthy people, will never do this. They will never even think about it because they know that this is my life partner. This is my the one that I am 50%. I'm the other half. So they will never do this, and that's a problem with nowadays. For example, the problem started when people started to, when civilization came around and people started to not live anymore in tribes, but they started to live in small villages. And then they came in contact with other tribes and basically they mingled, they mixed. And that's where the problems come, because with mingling with other tribes, you lose the sense of trust and loyalty that you have inside your own very small tribe, your extended family. And the more you go further away from your original tribe, the less you feel loyalty and trust. And this is the thing what you see in the Western world. People come from everywhere from the country, and they find somebody because they think it's nice, but they don't know anything about their background. They don't have any trust. They don't have any loyalty. Because this was the case in primitive times. You have your extended family, then small villages arrived, like say in the Middle Ages, and then it became cities started to grow, of course even before, but you see the point. People move from the countryside to the cities, and now it's not anymore needed to marry somebody from the village, but from the region. So that's now people say, oh, I'm from Ohio, I want to marry somebody from Ohio. Or in Holland, the provinces. So, oh, I want somebody from Zeeland, or I want somebody from Friesland, or some other province, state. And then after, because this was happening until maybe the 1950s, people say, oh, I want somebody that's from this state or this part of the country. Now it's like they say, oh, I can go abroad, I can go find somebody in America, I can find somebody in Southern America, in Africa, it doesn't matter. But this is the problem, because it's nice, because you can, of course, there's some people's working out. And I'm not only talking about mixing culturally, but also inside your own country. For example, in Holland, like I say, if you come from the north, the culture is very different from the south. And it's so much distance from the south, it's very hard to build a strong trust and loyalty and connection. And you don't know anything about the other person's, his youth, his upbringing, and that's the main problem. And that's why people divorce, because they don't find it, they cannot find the trust and loyalty that you need to connect with somebody forever, like instantly. It's very, very hard. And the more you see people are leaving the tribal state behind them. And I'm not even talking about the primitive tribes, but and now they're also leaving the state connection, which was already much weaker because, you know, it's a state is much bigger, the group gets bigger, the population that you can choose from a partner becomes bigger. And this raises the problem of divorce, because there are many people that cannot connect. They feel that it's that they, okay, I have a nice partner, but there's still something missing. I cannot go deeply. He doesn't fully understand me. That's why I think that there's many divorces. Also, inside the own cultural boundaries. For example, Dutch people, now they move from Amsterdam to Rotterdam. If you put these people together, of course it can work out, but you see the divorce rate goes up because there's not this high trust and high loyalty, and also not the family involved. And that's another part that's very important. The family is not involved anymore. But I will talk about this in another video blog because it will become too difficult. So, concluding, in the primitive tribe, there was no divorce. You cannot even think about it because it was an extended family. You were constantly, you knew everything from everybody in your tribe. There were no secrets. You knew everything. You know, from A to Z, you know everything. Then the group of people became bigger because civilization came around, and the group of people became bigger. So now you choose from your village, but it can be maybe 2,000 people instead of 150 people from your tribe. Becomes a problem because it's harder to check everybody. It's harder to know if you can trust somebody. You don't know anything about the background, not that much. And then later people start to choose from regions, and finally now you can choose from anywhere across the earth. And this raises, especially in the Western world, where this goes really fast, civilization is growing really fast, people are traveling everywhere, they're moving everywhere, they don't have the place where they stay, the soil under their feet of their ancestors, and this is the problem, and that's why the divorce rates are really exploding, and will be even more exploding. It will be even impossible in the future to have a family because there's no trust, there's no loyalty. People have no connection with the place they stay in. They just move around quickly for their job, like an expat or somebody else studying, and they feel basically lost, and they cannot connect with somebody else because they don't know anything about the other person. There's no trust, there's no loyalty that you had in the primitive state. And you see this with every generation is becoming weaker. You see in the 50s the divorce rate was much lower because people marry somebody from their neighborhoods or from the city. You know, they stay in the city. They feel connected with the person because they came from the same city. It was already looser than the primitive state, but it was still there. And you see this every generation, it becomes looser and looser, and the divorce rates will go up. So my idea is we should go back to the primitive state, to a small tribe, extended family, where it's high trust, high loyalty, and also knowledge about every individual in the tribe. So that was for today. Thank you for watching. A long video blog, but I think very important topic to talk about. That was for today. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.